You're in a basement or maybe a kitchen. You're wearing a headset that smells like cheap plastic and a funk you can't quite put your finger on. A phone rings, you pick it up, and a voice on the other end screams that the internet isn't working. Whatever the fuck that means. Welcome to the help desk. Digital trench warfare is fueled by caffeine. The enemy is user error, and the only objective is to survive until 5 p.m. without rage quitting because you desperately need the money. Technology really is magical. Humans somehow got silicone wafers, rocks, to think by injecting lightning into them.
Give my creation!
We're all just Thor, god of rocks at this point. But sometimes the rocks stop thinking. And when the rocks stop thinking, Carl from accounting stops working. And when Carl stops working, he calls you. Help desk isn't just fixing computers. You are the immune system of the corporate body. But an immune system that the body actively hates.
Why are you the way that you are?
You are a digital janitor. You mop up data spills, unclog the information superhighway, and plunge the toilets of the internet. Did that analogy make sense? I can't tell anymore. Does anything really make sense these days? We're all just in a simulation.
Roy, what's wrong?
I had a nightmare. I was with an old man.
The hierarchy of pain. Help desk is structured like a medieval caste system, but with more anxiety. Xanax, anyone? No thanks. I'll just take a Zin. At the bottom, Tier 1. The grunts, the peasants, the human shields. If you're Tier 1, your job isn't to fix problems. It's to be yelled at before you tell someone you're going to escalate the problem. You read from a script, kind of like I'm doing. Is it plugged in? Did you restart? Are you sure about that? You are the filter that catches the stupid of human stupidity.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
So it doesn't bog up the expensive engineers further up the chain of command. At Tier 1, your goal is to clear out all the low-hanging fruit. If tickets were fruits. Password resets are your bread and butter, followed by reinstalling Office, followed by reinstalling a printer. Any other issue, if you can't resolve in 15 to 30 minutes, can fuck off and escalate up the chain.
I said, ooh.
If you survive Tier 1 without losing your soul,
Please, I have no soul.
you level up to Tier 2. I've been here briefly, got out as quick as I could. The fixers.
Time kept on.
You have admin rights, like everybody else. You have the power to remote in, like everybody else, and see the horrors of Carl's desktop, but can confidently try to fix the problem Tier 1 couldn't. Or let's face it, didn't want to fix. You know that broken usually means I spilled soup on my laptop. Why Carl eats so much soup at the office is beyond our comprehension. But you fix it anyways, because you have a metric to hit. SLAs, SLOs, SLIs, or worse, billable hours. Oh, the horror! But first, a word from this video's sponsor, Coursera. As the year comes to a close, you gotta ask yourself, did you live 2025 the way you wanted to? Did you level up your skills, your knowledge, your earning power? Or did you just do the bare minimum to get by another year? It's a grind out there, I know. It's difficult to exist these days. I'm here to tell you, 2026 can be your year to finally
Live!
if you're serious about making a massive leap into the career field that is tech, or the even bigger leap into cybersecurity. Coursera can help you decide if it's something worth pursuing. Jealous of all those IT people working remote? Curious about data analytic jobs? That sounds fun. Analyzing data for money. Think you can stomach learning Python and how to code to finally break into software engineering? Maybe you want to figure out how to better leverage AI to boost your productivity because you're a lazy piece. Coursera has a course for all of that. If you're interested in doing something instead of nothing in 2026, check out the link down below where you can get 40% off, 3 months access to thousands of courses. It's time to take the leap of faith into the job of your dreams. And then there is Tier 3, the sysadmins. The wizards. They do not have phones, at least they pretend not to, because you can never get a hold of them. They do not speak to Carl. If a Tier 3 engineer is talking to a regular user, the apocalypse has begun. Quit your jobs and move to a farm. They communicate only in Jira tickets and disdain. Was this documented? Yes. They're full of themselves because they know no one else can fix the major problems. Because learning how to fix it would require staying long enough to learn the backyard brood apps that upper management refuses to replace. God forbid there's a Tier 4, but these exist, but really are just senior Tier 3s. The mindset and work is the same, the pay is not. Anything beyond 4 tiers is outright nonsense. But tickle me pink, I've been wrong before. To work help desk, you must understand the user. And the first rule of the user is they lie. Lots. Sometimes on purpose, but mostly out of their own naivety. Did you reboot, you ask? Yes, Carl says. Carl is lying. Carl turned the monitor off and on. Carl thinks the monitor is the computer, even though you've reminded him multiple times in the past. It's not. You check the task manager, uptime, 42 days. You don't argue. You just run checkdown /R/T0 and watch the problem magically vanish. Well, slap my ass and call me Jerry. That was easy. See you tomorrow, Carl, for our daily chit-chat. Now, you might think people like Carl from accounting can't possibly exist. Well, I'm not just full of baloney. We have the legends of help desk folklore. Wireless Wendy. If I cut the cable on my mouse, can I use it as a wireless mouse? Sorry, no. The mouse will not have power then. Okay, thanks. Any key Annie. I was prompted to press the any key. Where is it? Oh, by golly. And of course, no context Ned, with the subject, problem, and the only thing in the email saying I tried. Please help. Sincerely, Ned. We have secret codes for these people. PEPCAC. ID10T errors. Picnic. These acronyms are the only things keeping Tier 1 from total mental collapse. Because at least your fellow coworkers can share in your pain. Together like a focus group for addicts, only the addiction in this case is living paycheck to paycheck. These are the common tools of misery in help desk. Printers. Printers were not built by engineers. They were summoned by dark wizards to punish us. They smell fear. They jam only when you need something urgently, are more temperamental than a female bear with cubs. Run, George! Why does the printer need magenta ink to print a black and white spreadsheet? Because printers were created to invoke hatred and violence. That's why. Printers are evil incarnate. We have AI that can write poetry, but we can't make a printer stay connected to Wi-Fi for more than 24 hours. Not to mention all the vulnerabilities printers create in a business. And testers love them. Big gaping holes. If you don't receive at least one ticket about a printer every day, something has gone horribly wrong, and your ticketing system is likely broken. Speaking of which, you manage this chaos with the almighty ticket. Whether it's ServiceNow or Jira, I've used ConnectWise, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
You worship the ticket. You play the sport of ticket ping pong. Bounce it to networking. Bounce it to the server team. Bounce it to third-party vendor support. Anything to stop the f***ing timer so we meet our SLAs. Because setting a ticket to waiting on XYZ to respond is the only real sense of relief you get throughout your day. The greatest feeling in the world. Closing a ticket because the user didn't reply for 3 days. Problem solved. Some might say it's better than coitus. It's closure and a sense of immediate relief. Utter euphoria. This is the same feeling I get when I cancel plans.
In terms of instant relief, canceling plans is like heroin.
Sweet, sweet relief. Until they reopen the ticket and get angry over why it wasn't addressed. Now, I might have made help desk seem great so far, but it gets worse during times of crisis. Because sometimes it's not Carl. Sometimes it's the vendor. You spend years passive-aggressively telling users not to install random software, and then a multi-billion-dollar security company pushes an update on a Friday afternoon that bricks 8.5 million computers at once. Heavens to Betsy, that's oodles of computers. Must I continue mentioning this incident in videos? Yes. Was I affected? No, but I might have been if I had not escaped the trenches when I did. Suddenly, you aren't just fixing a Bluetooth mouse, you are manually booting 4,000 laptops into safe mode to delete a single file. You are the only thing standing between the company and the Stone Age. And does Carl thank you? No. Carl asks why his email signature looks weird. So why do we do it? Why do we suffer the printers, the passwords, and the Carls? Because it's better than flipping burgers. But sometimes I wonder, is it though? I quite like the smell of burger grease and fresh fries on a cold Tuesday morning. And somewhere deep, deep down, so deep, help desk knows they're needed. Maybe it stems from childhood trauma of not being wanted. I don't know. We hold the wall. We are the digital janitors who also keep the lights on. But despite our pleasant customer service voices, chocolate rings, and calm demeanors, we secretly hate talking to you and dream of the day we don't have to, where we work quietly by ourselves, tootling on our computers in silence. Sweet, sweet silence. To all you ID10Ts out there, try turning it off and on again, and for the love of God, check if it's plugged in.
You